watching this video, I assume you're a student in the App Dev with Swift course and that your instructor has said that you'll be using Replit for some of the labs. So we need to integrate Replit with GitHub and GitHub Classroom, getting all your accounts set up the same so that you can do this easily. So let's get started. So let's go through a quick checklist to make sure that you've got everything set up before you start into the integration of these apps in the process I'm about to show. First is I want to make sure that you have watched the previous video on student onboarding, just getting you set up with Google Classroom. So let's make sure you've watched that. Secondly, I want to make sure that you've logged into your GitHub account. Hopefully you already have one. Again, following the first video, you would have a GitHub account at this point. So make sure that you're logged into that. Third, that you have a Replit account and that you're logged into your Replit account. So these can just be in different tabs in your browser. But again, this is the easiest if you're already logged into all of these things at once. And then finally, that you should have access to an invite link for the Replit onboarding lab. So make sure you have that and we will get started. So we've actually added a new student into our class, Carl Sagan. And so I have his account set up here and it's nice and fresh so we can walk through what it should look like for the very first time with a student such as yourself. So here we're logged into GitHub under Carl Sagan's account. I am also over on Replit. I have an account and I'm logged in here. And by the way, it's this upgrade that if you see this in the upper right, that's what we're trying to get rid of when we do this integration. And that will actually upgrade your account for free. So hopefully when we're all done, that goes away and everything works smoothly. So what we're going to do is take the link, the invite link that we got from our instructor for this lab and paste it into the browser to start the process. So I'm going to just open a new tab and I'm going to paste that URL in. So when I do that, in this case, Carl Sagan hasn't gone through any of this process of getting started with authorizing GitHub and GitHub Classroom. So we're going to go ahead and do that here. So we're going to authorize GitHub. Then it's going to take us to the classroom itself. And we see that there's one student that hasn't signed up yet. That's me, Carl Sagan. And so I'm going to click on that, say OK. And then I'm going to see that I have an assignment here that I'm going to accept. And so I'm going to accept this assignment. And at this point, repos are being created in my GitHub account as well as for the instructor that match so that we have the assignment all set up and ready to go. So in fact, if I were to just refresh this, even though it warns us it may take some time, these tend to go pretty quick, and you can see I now have a couple of links here. Click on this second link, which says REPL onboarding Carl Sagan 325. That's my GitHub ID. So if I click on that, we can see that here I am in my GitHub account, and here is the assignment, and here is the README file. So the README files are what you're going to focus on to know what you need to do. But what's interesting about this, it has a Work in Replit button at the top. So what we want to do is click on that. And what that will do is get permissions for us to work with Replit. So here I have this GitHub Classroom is requesting additional permissions, which is fine. So I will authorize GitHub. And then let's go back to our repo. And let's click on this again. So we're going to click Work in Replit. So now we've come to Replit. I'm logged in under my account, but it's saying I need to authorize GitHub to import repos. So I'm going to click on that. And it's saying install Replit online IDE. We're basically wanting to allow that to work. So you want to go to your name here. Do not worry about the Stephen Hawking, our instructor, Swift course. You won't be able to authorize that anyway. You're only on your account. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to say install and authorize. So now that I've done that, I have basically authorized Replit to work with GitHub. Now you'll notice here it still says upgrade. And even if I refresh my account, it still says that. So what I want you to do is log out. So I'm in GitHub here, and we logged out of Replit. I want to log back into Replit. But when I log back into Replit, and I go over here to login, I'm going to click on this GitHub link rather than logging in here. And since I'm already logged in under GitHub, when I do that, I'm going to go right into my account like I did before, but you'll notice that that upgrade button is gone. And that's the key. We want to get rid of that. Now we can actually access our repos right here from Replit. So for example, if I clicked a new one here, and then I went over to import from GitHub, you'll see, hey, I see the REPL onboarding Carl Sagan repo. So I can click on that here and say import from GitHub, and I now have that lab loaded into Replit. Now this particular lab is just a Node JavaScript lab. It's a single line print statement, so it's pretty easy, but it's something that you can run and then you can make a change to it and then commit it back. So let me just take you through that process. You'll see here in the README file, there'll be a nice README for every lab that you have that tells you what you need to do. In this case, it's saying to change the console log so that we have the text, I did it, there. So if we look at in the index.js file right here, if we look at that file and we say run, notice that it prints out this message that we have here. So we can come back to here and I'll just copy this. And I'll come back to here and I will paste that there and then run it. And sure enough, I get the new message. So I've made the change that I need to for the lab. So what we want to do is commit this change and push it back. So we come over here to this little version control area. We click on that icon. And then we have an opportunity. It says one modified file or folder. That's right. We've had a modified file, that index.js file. So we're going to say made change requested. Put whatever message we want in here. And I'm going to say commit and push. And when I do that, that is going to submit this change back to GitHub. So for example, if I were to come back to my GitHub account here, this is all showing, hey, things haven't changed since 12 minutes ago. If I refresh this, I now see there's an additional commit and I have some changes right here on index.js that was 21 seconds ago. That's what we want. And if I click on this, I now see the file right here, and here is what I changed. So I know I've submitted my assignment back to the instructor, and it's ready for the instructor to grade. So I would let the instructor know that I'm all good to go, and you can move on to the next lab.